In this video, I'm going to provide a full review and share my thoughts on VAS, which is a very popular ETF listed on the ASX. Let's get straight into it. The Vanguard Australian Shares Index ETF, or VAS for short, tracks the top 300 companies listed on the Australian Stock Exchange. It's one of the most popular ETFs among Aussie investors. By investing in VAS, you're basically investing in the entire Australian stock market. This is because these top 300 companies make up about 85% of the total market value. VAS is domiciled in Australia, meaning it's registered here for tax purposes. Australian residents who invest in this ETF are therefore subject to Australian taxes and regulations. This local domicile is beneficial as you won't face foreign tax complications and it allows you to set up a dividend reinvestment plan. VAS pays dividends quarterly, so 4 times a year. You can check out their distribution history on their website. FYI, dividends and distributions refer to the same type of payment but are used in different contexts. Dividends are payments made directly by companies to their investors, while distributions are payments made by the funds to their investors. Since companies pay dividends to VAS, which then passes these payments to VAS investors, we technically call them distributions, but they're basically dividends. Although the terms distributions and dividends are used interchangeably. Looking at the distribution history, you'll see VAS makes quarterly payments with the most recent distribution in December 2024. CPU stands for cents per unit. So this means in the last distribution payment, you would have received about 98 cents for each VAS shares that you own. The ex-entitlement date, also known as ex-dividend date, is when the stock starts trading without the dividend. After this date, new buyers won't receive the upcoming dividend. Record date is when the company checks its record to identify who owns shares. Payable date is when you actually receive your dividend payment. Reinvest price is a share price used when automatically reinvesting your dividends. Please note, this only applies if you set up a dividend reinvestment plan. If you're interested to learn how to set up a DRP, I'll link a video down in the description. The dividend yield is currently around 3.5%, although this can change. Please keep in mind that companies are not legally required to pay dividends. They choose to pay them based on their profits and other factors. That being said, Australian companies are known for their consistent dividend payments. The management fee for this ETF is 0.07%. This means for every $1,000 you invest, you'll pay 70 cents. So it is quite cheap in the grand scheme of things. And the best part is, you don't have to remember to pay this fee. It will be automatically deducted from the share price of the ETS itself. So there is no out-of-pocket expense. Let's check out the top 10 holdings by VAS. So first we have CBA, which is currently the largest company on the ASX by market cap. This is followed by BHP, CSL, NAB, Westpac, ANZ, Wesfarmers, Macquarie, Goodman Group, and Woodside. These 10 companies represent approximately 47% of the total holdings of VAS. For a complete list of holdings, you can visit their website and download the full company list. The holdings are updated monthly as company rankings can shift based on performance. But one thing is for sure, this ETF always tracks Australia's top 300 companies. Let's break down the sectors these companies represent. As you can see, financials dominate at 33%, which isn't surprising given Australia's stock market is led by our major banks like CBA, NAB, Westpac, and ANZ. Materials follow at 19%, primarily consisting of mining companies like BHP, Rio Tinto, and FMG. Healthcare comes in at 10%, featuring prominent Australian companies like CSL, ResMed, and Cochlear, which are all major players in the medical industry in Australia. Have you heard of these companies before? If you're curious about other sectors, you can download the complete holdings list I mentioned earlier and filter by sector groups. Although as you can see, these sector names can be a bit different. Alternatively, you can use the power of Google to research examples of different sectors on the ASX. For example, if you wanted to know what companies make up consumer discretionary, then simply Google ASX examples of the consumer discretionary sector. And the AI feature will show you examples like JB Hi-Fi, Harvey Norman, and Wesfarmers, which owns Bunnings, Officeworks, and Kmart. This is an easy way to get a better understanding of the different sectors that make up the ASX. Let's now check out the historical performance of VAS. You can find this information in the performance section of their website. Here you'll see the performance breakdowns for different time periods. So we have the last month, year to date, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and since inception on May 2009. As of the 31st of January 2025, over the last 5 years, VAS has returned 7.9% on average per year. This means a $10,000 investment in VAS made exactly 5 years ago will be worth $14,628 today. However, please note that past performance does not guarantee future results. If you invest $10,000 today, there's no guarantee you'll see the same returns over the next 5 years. Please consider the historical performance as a guide only. For more detailed performance data, you can download the fact sheet from the documents section of their website. This fact sheet, which is available for all Vanguard ETFs, provides a comprehensive summary with key facts and information about VAS. Looking at the performance returns on the fact sheet, you'll notice 5 different categories. Let me explain what they mean. ETF gross returns show performance before management fees and taxes, but after transaction and operational costs. VMK shows the benchmark performance, in this case the S&P/ASX 300 index that VAS aims to replicate. You'll notice the returns are very similar with slight variations due to operational fees. ETF total return shows performance after management fees and with reinvested dividends. This is typically the most accurate measure of performance and matches what's shown on their website. Please note that while the website shows January 2025 returns, the fact sheet is still showing December 2024 data. So it looks like Vanguard has not updated the fact sheet for January yet. If we set the website date to the 31st of December 2024, the 5-year return matches the fact sheet. Now you may be wondering what the remaining two categories mean. Distribution return shows the average dividend return, so how much the ETF paid in dividends or distributions on average per year. Growth return shows the average annual share price increase or decrease. Please note you can make money with stocks in two ways. First, through share price appreciation. For example, if you own 10 VAS shares at $100 each, which is worth $1,000, and the share price increases to $105 a year later, your shares are now worth $1,050, giving you a $50 profit or approximately a 5% return. Second, stocks make money through dividends. When companies within the ETF pay dividends, the ETF must legally pass these on to the shareholders in the form of distribution payments. If you add the distribution return and growth return, it gives you the ETF total return. Looking at the 5-year average return of 7.99%, we can see it includes 4.45% from distributions and 3.54% from share price growth. This high distribution portion is typical for Australian companies who have a reputation of paying high dividends. And one last thing I want to point out about performance return. These are average annual returns. For example, while VAS has returned 9.15% per year since its 2009 inception, it doesn't mean it increased by exactly 9.15% each year. Some years might see a 20% gain, other years might see a 10% loss, and some years might show very little change. But over the long term, it has gone up at an average of 9.15% per year. Let's now look at some alternative ETFs to VAS. Two other popular ETFs that track top Australian companies are IOZ, provided by iShares, and A200, provided by BetaShares. The main difference is that these ETFs track the top 200 Australian companies instead of the top 300 Australian companies. So with VAS, you get an additional 100 smaller companies. While the top 300 companies make up about 85% of the entire Australian stock market, the top 200 companies represent approximately 80%. It's up to you whether you want the extra diversification or not. If you're interested in investing, I recommend comparing all options carefully before making your investment decision. If you would like to do additional research on VAS, I'll provide a link down below to the VAS website. And just a reminder, you can also download their fact sheet, which offers a concise 2-page summary of all the key information you need to make an informed decision. And quick disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor and this video is not financial advice. Please note this video is not a buy recommendation for VAS or any other ETFs mentioned. All examples and information are for educational purposes only. Please do your own research before making any decisions, and if you need personal financial advice, please consult a professional. By the way, if you're enjoying this video and made it this far, comment the words fair dinkum down below so I know who you are. And if you're new around here, what are you waiting for, mate? Subscribe to the channel and join this wonderful community of like-minded people. Also, please consider signing up to my free newsletter, Aussie Money Club, where once a week I'll send you some money tips, major news in the market, or any cool laugh days from me. And if you're interested to learn how to invest in ETFs this year, check out this video on screen where I'll show you a beginner's guide on how to buy your first ETF. And as always, thank you for watching, I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video.